and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Audrey Williams. As we observe Heart Month in February, we continue to give you information on how to take better care of that organ. We also take a more detailed look at the Jamaica Logistics Hub. But before we delve into the show, here's a word of advice, followed by the news.
Did you know regular physical activity controls your weight, reduces your risk of cardiovascular diseases, reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, reduces your risk of some cancers, strengthens your bones and muscles, and increases your chance of living longer? Get active, get fit, stay healthy.
Good day, I'm Carleen Brown-Thompson and this is your JIS News for Monday, February 17. Jamaica and Brazil have signed several bilateral agreements as well as a joint communique aimed at strengthening institutional and people-to-people linkages as well as trade and economic ties. The agreements relate to air services, defense cooperation and tax information exchange.
Other bilateral discussions focused on an upcoming investment promotion visit to Brazil by Jamaica's Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Greater cooperation in the field of energy, with particular emphasis on the role of biofuels as a key instrument of sustainable development.
The two countries also agreed to the exchange of notes on visas, a precursor arrangement to the signing of a visa abolition agreement expected in the coming months. This will allow Jamaicans hassle-free travel to Brazil and stays of up to 90 days.
What we are doing here today and what we will do in the next phase of our contacts will, in a certain way, give even more substance and even more depth to this relationship.
The agreements were reached after the inaugural meeting of the Jamaica-Brazil Joint Commission last Thursday. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator A.J. Nicholson has underscored the importance of export-led growth and reducing Jamaica's trade deficit.
The importance of trade to Jamaica's growth and development is illustrated by the fact that trade constitutes over 90% of our GDP. This means that trade is critical to job creation and income generation.
The minister was speaking at the Consular Corps International Exhibition and Trade Expo recently. He said every opportunity for trade and investment must be explored and revealed that his ministry was supporting that through economic diplomacy. National Security Minister Peter Bunting has condemned the killing of an infant and the attempted killing of another in East Kingston on the weekend. The minister was speaking at a peace march put on by the Rockfort Development Council. It was prompted by the killing of a man and an 18-month-old child and the wounding of a mother and father as they shielded their 2-month-old baby from an attempted reprisal killing. Minister Bunting said that in spite of the outrage and anger, he was encouraged by the stand against crime taken by the community members participating in the march.
This is what the Unite for Change campaign is all about. It is about citizens being empowered to take back their communities from criminals, from criminal gangs, from the gang culture, from the tolerance of criminality and criminal behavior.
Police Commissioner Owen Ellington expressed similar sentiments.
There are times when you're going to feel frustrated, you're going to feel like things are not going the way you want it to go, but keep at it. Remember that you're partners with the police. We are here to support you. We are here for you.
70 Jamaicans from the parishes of St. Mary, St. Anne and Portland are now recipients of land titles which were made available through the Cadastral Mapping and Land Registration in Jamaica project. The project, which was supported by a $2.1 million grant from the Republic of Korea, closed off last Friday. Approximately 1,000 landowners have benefited.
Security of tenure and security of property rights are fundamental if we are to fight poverty and to build a great nation.
We will therefore constantly seek innovative ways to make the process of land ownership simpler and cheaper, so that as many persons as possible can get a registered title.
Meanwhile, the Republic of Korea will be providing Jamaica with increased technical expertise this year, with 10 engineers invited to South Korea to improve their technical capacity in cadastral surveys. The announcement was made last Friday by Chargé d'Affaires for the Republic, Kimo Lim. He was speaking at the closing ceremony for the Land Titling, Cadastral Mapping and Land Registration in Jamaica project.
15 persons have already been to Korea and have received relevant training. We believe and expect Jamaica to be a leading country in the field of land management in the Caribbean region.
And finally, in a bid to streamline approaches to education, the Jamaica Teachers Association is to stage a 4-day education summit across 3 parishes. JTA is partnering with the Ministries of Education and Foreign Affairs, as well as representatives of the Jamaican diaspora, to execute the summit from February 18 to 21.
To discuss the issues, challenges, and new opportunities for the education sector in Jamaica. It will also seek to tap into the expertise and resources of the Jamaica diaspora to advance education in Jamaica.
The summit kicks off on February 18 at the Hilton Hotel in Montego Bay, followed by a tour of schools in the corporate area on February 19. On February 20, the summit will be held at the Cedar Grove Academy in Portmore and wraps up on Friday, February 21 at the JTA's head office in Kingston. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Carleen Brown-Thompson. Thanks for watching.
Avoid, alter, accept. 3 steps to help you quit smoking. 3 things to help you kick that cigarette butt. Avoid places, people and things that encourage smoking. Alter the way you do things.
If you normally drive a certain route, and when you drive a certain route, you're going to pass a bar. Drive a different route, you don't pass the bar.
Get rid of ashtrays and all smoking apparatus. Breathe in and out. Drink some water. Count to 300. Go for a walk and hang around non-smokers. And after all that, accept that you need help.
With support, you're going to find, oh, I really feel better with support. Because the person who's supporting you is going to say, you know, I'm proud of you.
Do it one day at a time. Join the fight and quit smoking for life.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller answered questions regarding her overseas assignments in Parliament last week. She also called for concerted effort in the care and protection of the nation's children. A roundup of all these and other engagements come your way next in Jamaica House Weekly.
"70 Jamaicans get land titles on the Korean-funded program. Prime Minister salutes the nation's teachers and government remains committed to rural development. This is Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Simone Wolf. 70 Jamaicans from the parishes of St. Mary, St. Anne and Portland are now the proud holders of land titles thanks to the governments of Jamaica and Korea. Both countries are partners on the Cadastral Mapping and Land Registration in Jamaica project. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller was on hand for the project's closing ceremony held in St. Mary on Friday. The project, which has benefited 1,000 landowners, was fully funded by the Republic of Korea at a cost of $2.1 million. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller expressed gratitude to the Koreans while denoting the significance of the project.
Securing land has a profound effect on one's personal, social, economic, psychological, and emotional well-being. My administration is so committed to empowering as many persons as possible to realize their dream of not only owning a piece of this land, but to have that ownership guaranteed by a registered certificate of title.
And the Prime Minister used the program's closing ceremony to point to the benefits of her overseas assignments.
What happened here today result from bilateral relations, diplomatic relations, and how we relate to our partners overseas.
Still fully committed to rural development. That was the word from Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller as she addressed a gathering in Trelawney earlier in the week. Mrs. Simpson Miller said while her administration would continue to look at urban development, special attention would be given to rural areas.
We believe passionately that we will never be able to deal with urban decay and underdevelopment and to deal with poor communities in rural Jamaica unless we address the needs, particularly the poor, deep rural communities.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the handing over of 39 houses to sugar workers in Spicy Hill, Trelawney. She said government had begun its revitalization program in sugar-dependent communities across Jamaica, which would include support for independent cane farmers, social infrastructure, a regional drainage project, and the road rehabilitation program worth $404 million.
Can we return to the good community values of love, of caring, of sharing, and of looking out for the little ones?
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller's plea to communities in the wake of several acts of violence against children. She called for all Jamaicans to see to the care and protection of the nation's children.
I beg communities, let us unite in the interest of this country, this beautiful country, this rock of ours. Let us unite and ensure that the demons will get converted and become peacemakers and will love and protect.
Minister without portfolio with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, has challenged Jamaica's business community to invest more in the nation's athletes, particularly at the grassroots level.
Your support creates an atmosphere in which they can concentrate on training and performance and not worry about where the plane fares are coming from and how they will pay the physiotherapy bill. In return, you receive a spokesperson who can garner the attention of the Jamaican and global public. If anything, it's a win-win situation.
Mrs. Nita Headley was speaking at a recent ceremony to announce 200-meter Olympic medalist Warren Ware as brand ambassador for Surge Island Dairies. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has directed the committee established to deal with Rastafarian issues to refer the matter regarding the faith's holy site at Pinnacle to the Ministry of Land. In a release from the OPM, it was revealed that the committee, chaired by Ambassador Burchell Whiteman, met and handed over documents and information to the responsible minister. The National Heritage Trust has declared the lot on the property containing the ruins of the Great House a National Heritage Site. The statement also said discussions would continue on the determination of other lots to be similarly declared and protected. And Mrs. Simpson Miller spent some time last week deepening Jamaica's relationship with Brazil when she met with the country's Minister of External Affairs. During last Thursday's courtesy call, the parties discussed the expansion of collaboration in areas such as social intervention programs, particularly to benefit vulnerable groups. And that's how we close this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next week for more news from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Equality. the Bureau of Gender Affairs and the Dispute Resolution Foundation, paid for by the UN Women Fund for Gender Equality.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsom. Today we explore anti-money laundering and its implications for the FSC regulated sectors. And joining me is Laurice Edwards-Brown, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Laurice.
Thank you, Nadine.
What is money laundering?
The goal of most criminal activity is to generate a profit. So in order to enjoy these ill-gotten gains, criminals often seek to disguise the source of these funds. So the process by which the criminals seek to put these ill-gotten gains into legitimate source of business or into investments is what is called money laundering.
And what role does the FSC play as it relates to anti-money laundering laws?
The FSC is mandated by Section 62F of the Financial Services Commission Act to put into place measures to reduce the possibility of its regulated sectors, that is the pension sector, the insurance industry, or the securities industry, from being involved in any activity or in any offense relating to money laundering. The FSC seeks to implement such measures to reduce or to mitigate the risk concerning money laundering or financing of terrorism. And when these risks are identified, these measures will seek to alleviate the risks.
Does the FSC provide specific instructions to institutions regarding the procedures to put in place for anti-money laundering compliance?
No, the FSC does not. The FSC is a gatekeeper for the industry, and what we seek to do is to get the industry to work to find out what is it that they need to do to implement measures that can safeguard their own entities from being used into using schemes for money laundering activities.
Thank you, Laurice. My guest today was Laurice Edwards-Brown, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsom.
I needed help to expand my business, but the banks only wanted to be up in my business. The high interest rates were killing my business. They're never really business with my business.
At the Exim Bank, we have your business needs covered. Our application process is easy, and we provide loans at competitive rates for the productive sector. From renewable energy projects and working capital to plant upgrades or expansion and export financing. Come in and talk to us today. The Exim Bank. On the road to success, you are going to want us in your business.
There's been a lot of discussion generated over the past few months about positioning Jamaica to take advantage of the global logistics hub. But what exactly is it? How will it really produce improvements in the lives of Jamaicans? We have the facts next.
The logistics hub is not a physical space, it's a concept.
And that is one of the most important facts to know about government's proposed logistics hub for Jamaica. It's not about any single space, but rather the relationship among a range of goods and service providers and the infrastructure connecting them. Fact is, it's the interconnectivity among various industries that will transform the country into the fourth major node in the global logistics chain. So what of the Goat Islands, that area located in the Portland Bight protected area?
Goat Island, if it happens, is not the logistic hub. It will be an important element of the logistics hub.
China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, is proposing to establish a transshipment port on parts of the island.
But for that decision to be made, that's a whole of country decision, not just a cabinet.
In fact, it will take a national effort to transform Jamaica into a global logistics hub. But government has to take the lead on implementing certain critical elements.
Our road network must be linked and upgraded to accommodate easy travel of goods and people across the country. The port should be expanded to allow access to the biggest ships, and holding areas will be needed for dry goods such as cereals, wheat and grains, which will be offloaded in Jamaica to be shipped to other countries. If we examine the operations of the other three superpowers in the global logistics chain, Singapore, Rotterdam and Dubai, it's clear we must also establish special economic zones. These countries have provided employment for thousands of their citizens through this venture, and the Jamaican government is looking to emulate their success.
These special economic zones will cluster large transnational companies engaged in a variety of logistics activities, warehousing and manufacturing logistics, that add value to semi-finished or intermediate goods that are destined for global markets. As many as 16 SEZs are contemplated to be spread across the country, connected with each other, linked with the port community system, and connected to the world. We see the SEZs as facilitating new and innovative commercial ventures for the MSME sector, opening up significant opportunities for job creation and allowing our firms to link into global trading platforms.
A few other facts to consider. The Jamaica Logistics Hub seeks to take advantage of the imminent widening of the Panama Canal, scheduled for practical completion in April 2016. 90% of the world's trade is done by ships, and the expanded canal will bring more and larger ships through the region. The Jamaica Logistics Hub has the potential to catalyze several export-driven manufacturing and service industries. A website has been mounted to provide information about the Logistics Hub initiative. To find out more, click on jamaicalogisticshub.com.
Bamboo growers, companies involved in the manufacturing of bamboo products. Get registered with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The BSJ is a member of the International Network for Bamboo and Rattan, and the government of Jamaica wants to develop a standard-led bamboo industry that could lead to job creation and economic growth. Companies, your products could be stamped with the regionally recognized Jamaica-made mark certification and the National Certification Mark. Get registered and receive quality training and international certification. For more information, call the Bureau's Special Projects Department at 926-3140 or visit the BSJ at 6 Winchester Road, Kingston 10.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Do you know that nugget? Well, it's very important that we strive to eat more healthy foods and reduce our risk of developing a lifestyle disease. In observance of Heart Month, we look at one of those lifestyle diseases which may put you at greater risk for heart disease. Blood pressure. The pressure put on the walls of our blood vessels as the heart pumps blood through them. Doctors say blood pressure can be high or low, depending on how fast or slow the heart beats. Your heart rate slows down when you rest and speeds up when you're excited or worried, pushing up your blood pressure. But there are other factors that can cause your blood pressure to rise, even to dangerous levels.
If your blood pressure rises and stays high over time, your doctor will tell you you have high blood pressure, also known as hypertension.
Hypertension or high blood pressure is known as a silent killer because you really don't have any symptoms.
Medical experts say hypertension is a serious condition that can lead to heart disease and other health problems.
The effect of blood pressure in the heart is that it affects the muscle, the left side of the heart, the left ventricle. That is what pumps the blood around the body. After it goes through the various stages, the left ventricle pumps the blood out. When we have high blood pressure, the heart is put under pressure to force the blood out much more than it would when your blood pressure was normal. And the left side of the heart gets stretched out.
One of the dangers of hypertension is that you can have it for years and not know it because there are no symptoms. During this time, it can damage your heart, blood vessels, kidneys, and other organs.
When we look at worldwide mortality, the single leading cause of worldwide mortality is uncontrolled hypertension. Somewhere between 25 to 28% of them never knew they were hypertensive.
Unfortunately, in Jamaica, there's about 25% of our population that studies have shown that suffer from high blood pressure. But worse than that, 50% of those persons are unaware that they have high blood pressure.
The greatest thing is to know that you are hypertensive. But if there are no symptoms, how can you know?
Frequent blood pressure checks, says Deborah Chen.
And also, don't do it once for your life and you're finished. You really should have it checked regularly, because you may be okay today and over a period of time, you know, it develops. Most of the high blood pressure, it is of unknown origin. You know, it could be that it runs in the family and so on. But there are risk factors for high blood pressure.
Aging, drinking more than 2 alcoholic drinks a day for men or more than 1 drink for women. Eating too much sodium or salt, being overweight or obese, having high levels of cholesterol, not exercising, being under a lot of stress, and eating a diet low in potassium, magnesium, and calcium.
High blood pressure cannot be cured, but it can be treated and controlled. So when you have high blood pressure, and let us say your doctor decides that you're at the point where you do need to go on medication, you need to stay on the medication for the rest of your life.
Medical experts say high blood pressure cannot be cured, so the best option for the hypertensive is to keep the blood pressure in a healthy range. You can do that by getting your blood pressure checked regularly, eating a healthy diet, maintaining a healthy weight, staying physically active, limiting alcoholic drinks, not smoking, and preventing or treating diabetes.
An age group, say age 30 years and over, about 30 out of every 100 such persons have hypertension. If the hypertension is treated, then your risk from disease resulting from hypertension is considerably reduced.
The key to successful treatment of high blood pressure is making lifestyle changes and, if necessary, drug therapy. Doctors say high blood pressure is not a death sentence if you detect and treat it early.
And if you've been diagnosed with high blood pressure, remember to check your doctor regularly to test your pressure. And take your medication if you have to. Remember, untreated hypertension is a silent killer.
And that's where we leave you on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Have comments or questions? Email us, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm, or send us a direct message on Twitter @JIS News. Want up-to-date information on all the positive and uplifting things the government is doing? Visit our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Audrey Williams, reminding you to know your numbers and reduce your risk of heart-related diseases.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.